Hey, Monday Night Pro Wrestling for me as a fan has concluded as we just concluded episode 7 of AEW Dark Elevation. And yes, you will continue to see my screen flip, for I am just a simple man and a lifelong fan of wrestling. Hello, good evening, good morning, good night to all of you, whenever you may watch this. My name is Noah Foster, and I am just a simple man and a lifelong wrestling fan. And I'm here to bring you a simple summary for a simple take of AEW Dark Elevation Episode 7. This is being recorded 8:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Monday, April the 26th. With that being said, why don't we go ahead and talk right about what we saw tonight. Another great showcase where we look at the up-and-coming, young, hungry, passionate, rising talent and future stars of the wrestling industry brought to us through the AEW platform. Whether or not they become all elite or go up to something else is entirely up to them. But let's appreciate the opportunity that we are given to see these fine men and women showcase, as I'm sure they appreciate it as well. Let's go ahead and talk about what we saw tonight. Our opening contest featured the continuation in the feud of the Death Triangle versus the Best Friends, as Chuck Taylor took on Rey Fenix. A nice back and forth competitive contest, it seems. Very good follow-up towards the end with the soul food into the not ugly waffle, but pile driver combination. But, of course, the hype man, and I guess the fourth person now part of Death Triangle, or just, I guess, their personal speaker, / translator, Spanish commentator turned heel Alex Camarantes. He said that Penta says this, but before he could say anything else, Orange Cassidy, sorry, folks, vehicle in the background, comes into play, tries to stop him, and then Penta finds a cheap shot kick in afterwards because the distraction was enough for Rey Fenix of all ways to win, simply traps freaking vehicles, man. Dadgum, what is this? Indianapolis 500? Go somewhere else. Freaking traps him in a crucifix with a smile and gets the win. I must say, this finish kind of surprised me. Not the result, but the way that Rey Fenix got the win. You figure some crazy competitive, like, I don't know, pile driver type of maneuver would give him the win. But nope. And so far right now, it is 2-0 in favor of Death Triangle in this feud with the Best Friends that, of course, will continue this Wednesday when we get to Dynamite. And I'll briefly give you my insight look to what's to come from there, too. But I thought this was a pretty good opening contest to set the mood for another fun showcase of professional wrestling. And by the way, that pop-up roll-through cutter Rey Fenix did in the early going, again, Rey Fenix, the guy is a freak, so damn dynamic. I don't know how he freaking does it. Moving on from there, we go into our next match as the Hollywood hunk Ryan Nemeth with, I guess, his own crew in tow of Cesar Bononi, Pretty Peter Avalon, and J.D. Drake. Ryan Nemeth took on Risen. This match was pretty short. Risen got a couple of shots in, but he went for the kill with top rope swanton bomb and 8 knees to his lower spine, as Ryan Nemeth not only disgraced Pee Wee Herman with that showcase, but he did showboat. And in the end, he did win, of course, with his finisher. And Ryan Nemeth has been pretty much on a roll, I must say, which kind of surprises me. But whether you like it or not, basically, Rude Awakening gives Ryan the win. Brash, but effective, and gotta give credit where credit's due. Simple as that. Moving on from there, we go into Orange Cassidy back in action, doing whatever, as the match seemed a little longer than last week, as he took on a guy wearing all fur coat. Okay, that's your thing. Whatever. He took on Dean Alexander. Dean Alexander did not care at all for the person Orange Cassidy is, who, of course, his showcases and mannerisms and barely trying, which, of course, he only had to barely try. As this match was pretty short, sweet, and simple, as soon as Orange Cassidy got the hands in the pockets while he was laying down and got some offense picked up, he nailed him with the Orange Punch. And literally that was it. 1, 2, 3. Orange Cassidy wins. Orange Cassidy now building, of course, his continued strong streak in AEW singles-wise this year. And, of course, bringing some momentum back to the Best Friends as we look towards Wednesday, where Orange Cassidy will be in the corner of his buddy, Chris Statlander. And Orange Cassidy will also be in action this week against Penta. And I'm sure he's ready to make Penta pay for the kick, not only from last week, but also from tonight. And again, we'll have to wait and see. But Dean Alexander maybe do a little more than showboat in a fur coat. I feel they got potential, man. Moving on from there, the Acclaim, they arrived, they dropped their own lines, but thankfully, before we could get a finish, Bowens intercepted the one line because I don't think it takes a rocket science to figure out what he was about to say there. And basically, the Acclaim got a quick win over Myers and Liam. They basically isolated, I believe it was Myers, and with a combination overhead power slam into the top of elbow drop that I believe he calls the mic drop. Max Caster gets the win, and for a post-match posing, I guess, kisses the fallen adversary's fists over and over and over and over again. Okay. Well, I will say this. It's nice to see Bowens back in ring action, and also the Acclaim, whether in singles or as a tag team, they have been a very effective duo. And I feel that they can go very far in AEW. Max Caster, of course, has really shown us what he could bring in singles action with the help of a boombox. But it's nice to see Bowens back fully recovered and in ring. I thought this was pretty good. And they're rolling. So, again, wins and losses matter. That's going to go great towards the rankings. We'll see what happens down the road for them. Anyway, as we move on from there, we have a backstage interview as Alan Angels, 5 of the Dark Order, and number 3, Alex Reynolds. They were teamed up tonight because, of course, Johnny Hungee, John Silver, is, of course, injured. Get well soon. But I like the fact now that we're finally seeing some character and personality from Alan 5, because he basically was trying to channel Johnny Hungee, and he basically said here that their adversaries, Scorpio Sky and Page, they should prepare to, of course, face us and accept the fact that they will lose. It seemed rather awkward in communication with Alex trying to put the point across for Alan to understand, but I thought this was a pretty fun way to have the match. I love that painting, by the way, of Broly in the background. And I know that they were doing it not only for John Silver, but also for the late, great Brody Lee. Join the Dark Order. Yes, I did. Remind me to put that up on that screen next time. Anyway, as we move on from there, the factory came into play with the mob boss, of course, of QT Marshall, full factory in tow of Aaron Solo, and, of course, Anthony Agogo, as the Beast, Nick Camarado, was in action. By the way, kudos to him with his educational background. That is really impressive. And he made very short work of his opponent, as, of course, he basically squashed the guy with pop-up overhand shoulder power slam for the win. There wasn't much to say more about this match as we continue this rivalry of the Nightmare Factory versus the Nightmare Family. Or is it just the Factory? I always get that confused. Love the Factory's theme, by the way. And of course, we know we have 6-man tag action ahead of us on AEW Dynamite, furthering this feud. And of course, as QT watched from his given steel throne, the steel steps, basically, he added insult to injury and also sent one last statement, I imagine, to Cody of all other people, as he had Nick Camarado once again power slam his adversary. And they left. Factory left their mark. Factory gets the win. Nick Camarado continues to roll. And Dustin, I hope you're aware of who you're dealing with. And we'll see what happens from there. Pretty good match. Moving on from there, we learn about the elevated rising star this week in legit Layla Hirsch. I could not be happier for this young, powerful, passionate athlete. And what a story, a backstory of a young little lady who did not have sports where she came from a whole different world in Russia, Mother Russia, as she came to a new world here in America, adopted and loved by great parents and a very supportive family. But she found the urge, the ish, the drive that is professional wrestling, seeing the noise, hearing the crowd, being a part of the ambience, and looking and beholding what happens in between those 4 ropes, which pushed her forward and inspired her to pursue wrestling on her own. It was not easy by any stretch, considering her background, of course, being 0 and her being a female, which is always something that I know is one of the strongest challenges, not criticisms, but challenges I know for a young female athlete aspiring to be a wrestler to overcome, which she did. She took on amateur wrestling, where she was basically with only like one other person. She got a scholarship from it. She continued pursuing her education. Next thing you know, she really got noticed, got her breaks in Japan, in, of course, Jasmine's Bloodsport, where I got her first exposure. That's where I first saw her. Then in the ring with the likes of Killer Kelly, Lindsay Snow, and of course, in Japan under Stardom, Hana be proud. Under the recent passing Hana Kimura in Cyber Tokyo squad at 1.2. When this pandemic happened, she had a choice. She decided she was not going to sit, laze around, feel gloom too. She was going to push forward, find her way, and continue to break through. And as she finally came across this scene, AEW, and has truly shown she wants this, loves this, done the work, shows the passion, and above all else, she's not trying to be, that pretty little face that just goes out there and showboats her character. She's out there to legit bring a statement, break an arm, get the win. She brings the attitude because this is what she loves. She wants to grow. And ever since seeing that she officially became All Elite, which I couldn't be more happier for her she knew, yep, she did the right thing. And this truly was meant for her. And the sky is the absolute limit. So all I can say to her is people might underestimate her because of her stature and height. But to me, she is not limited by that. She has limitless potential, and I cannot wait to see where her continued growth and showcasing will go. Congrats to everything you've accomplished, legit Layla Hirsch. I look forward to continuing to watching you bring your passion, your fun, and your intensity too in the ring, AEW, and I'm sure other things to come because AEW, it's open-minded and doesn't mind if you want to be a part of the growth of the wrestling industry, showcasing your talent somewhere else. I'm curious if she'll go back to drafting this Bloodsport at some point. But honestly, all I can say is this. Give me Killer Kelly versus legit Layla Hirsch. I want to see that match. I just want to see that match right now because I know both of these ladies can still tear it up. I want to see that match. That's all I got to say about that. I love this story, and I love the fact that every week we truly are getting to know these young athletes that honestly might only be 5 years on average in their wrestling careers for most of them, which they are, and seeing why they want this, why they become this, why they're here. It's a beautiful thing. But you just love seeing wrestling thrive and grow and seeing new faces, future talent. We're not living in the past. We're not trying to bury anybody. We're not trying to build everybody feel second fiddle or filler. We're trying to really elevate the wrestling industry. And I feel that's what Elevation is all about. Testing, expanding, and challenging your game, but also taking a risk and exposing yourself to an unknown audience, new audience, you name it. Again, this is my Monday Night Fix, and I love it. That's all I got to say about that. But again, love this. Cannot wait for next week to see what they talk about next. Okay. Speaking of which, moving on from there, we get my favorite female duo in AEW as Ryo Mizunami and legit Layla Hirsch came out with all the style, with all the character, with all the presence you can imagine, especially with those glasses. I could use a pair of those. And of course, they took on the new hybrid team. And again, AEW always testing these tag team combinations. I like that. They had the team this week of Diamante and Ember Nova. I must say, for their second outing as a duo, Ryo Mizunami and Layla were really tested here at times. As in the early going, it was Diamante and Ember Nova that controlled both their adversaries, literally isolating them in the corner. She thought Snap Around was going to get the better of them. Nope, they challenged that as well. And of course, Ember Nova isolated Ryo Mizunami, and Diamante tried to follow up with that. And it looked like for a good portion of this match, they actually might have pulled off the win until Ryo finally got the hot tag and the better of the two with the chops, and of course the, what can I call it? Showcasing in the corner. I love Ryo's energy, man. And literally, of course, her and Layla with some hybrid tag team offense with the assisted step up corner. I guess you would call it a moonsault out of the corner, and then finally traps her opponent in immediately with no choice. That cross arm breaker gets it done. As Amber Nova, no choice but to tap out. But it doesn't look like Diamante was done with either of these two, especially legit Layla Hirsch, as that intense fire of Diamante. Love her attitude. Why is she not all elite yet? Seriously, give me that graphic. Anyway, she basically confronted Layla after the match for Rhea to break it up, and it looks like she was not done with these two by long shots. Said, I will beat both you bitches. Again, Diamante, 0 Fs, 0 fears. And it looks like Tony Khan made official that next week on AEW Dark, that's next week Tuesday night, folks, the first Dark in May, it will be Diamante taking out legit Layla Hirsch in one-on-one action. I suspect a very intense, physical, somewhat technical match. Because I look at these two and I see Layla being the more technical, but then you have Diamante, who's definitely the more experienced. I expect a very good physical contest. And overall, again, women's tag team wrestling, I enjoyed it. And honestly, give me more Ryo Mizunami and Layla Hirsch. These two just gel together so well. And to think this team was founded on mutual respect after these two face each other one-on-one in a great singles match. Ryo Mizunami, to me, has made so many great single matches in AEW. I mean, again, I still want to see her and Kylie King in a series of 7 because that, to me, is still my favorite singles Ryo Mizunami match outside the championship one against Shida on pay-per-view to date. But I digress. Anyway, as we move on from there, we go into more women's action as the up-and-coming 3 years in the game, Tessa Price, straight out of Michigan, the pretty little psycho. She took on the Galaxy's greatest alien, Chris Statlander. There was a boop to Bryce Remsburg at the very beginning, and as it looked like she was trying to boop Tessa, she's like, no, and I'll tell you right now, Tessa brought the intensity vocally, nothing else. And it looked like there was a few good striking exchanges here between the two. But in the end, when Tessa tried to follow up against Chris Statlander after denying the boop, it kind of sent Chris Statlander to another stratosphere of anger. And she got the better of her and used an unorthodox in-ring game to basically, I'm not going to lure at you. I'm just going to backbreak you over my leg. And then she finally set up Tessa Price towards the end. We got some good offense in, but a nice drop kick in the corner and a stiff roundhouse. And, of course, yelling, Vicky Guerrero might have a run for her money with her voice. No, who am I kidding? No, that's impossible. And basically, in the end of this match, Chris Statlander, she does get the win after a nice big scoop slam in the early going with Big Bang Theory. And Big Bang Theory confirmed as Statlander continues to roll. And, of course, the best friends, they all 4 come together in the ring because you got to give the people what they want. And I thought this was a pretty good match. And again, Tessa Price, Kylie King, standouts for me, definitely on AEW, Dark, Elevation, whatever you name it. Again, Ohio, Michigan, by-state area. Respect to both of these incredibly passionate young ladies. And Tessa, keep bringing the fight and keep loving pro wrestling. Good stuff. And Chris Statlander, again, not going for the tope suicida at all, really changing her in-ring game, but still demonstrating she is one of the most powerful in AEW women's division. As, of course, we look forward towards the match that seems very hostile between her and Ford coming up. That should be a very interesting contest because Ford is nobody to sleep on. Anyway, moving on from there. Oh, and by the way, happy Alien Day, Chris Statlander. And happy National Pretzel Day to all of America. We the people. So, moving on from there, we go into tag team action again as we have Scorpio Sky, and of course partner Ethan Page. They took on the Dark Order, 3 and 5. Early show going by Scorpio Sky, feeling like he has all the confidence in the world, underestimating Alex Reynolds of the Dark Order. Alex Reynolds getting the better of the man. And then, of course, on Angels, yeah, imagine that, Alex Allen, almost a little tongue twister right there kind of for you. It was on Angels who then got the better of the 2 at one point, but also was isolated. He did escape the Eagle's Edge one point during this match, and there was a couple of very nice near falls during this too. At one point, I believe it was during this match, if not the previous match, Big Show had a very interesting quote, "Fatigue makes cowards of us all." I feel there's some truth to that because the further a wrestler goes, if they start, being exhausted, losing energy, you wonder if they can keep up in the ring, or do they just, lay down, walk away, go off somewhere to the side. That's a quote to think about, folks. Fatigue makes cowards of us all. Not just for you athletes, but just for people in general. As somebody who definitely does not have the greatest cardio, but I just got some weight, so maybe I'll finally start working out again. I'm trying to do better for myself healthy-wise. I found that quote to be very interesting. Anyway, 3 and 5 came super close towards the end of the match. I thought they were really going to pin Ethan Page, but Scorpio Sky came in for the save. It was Scorpio Sky who took out Alex on the outside, then followed up, stopping Alan Angels from doing some high-risk maneuver out of the corner, having him get a bad landing. And then finally, Ethan set up, of course, for his finisher with the Eagle's Edge, and Alan Angels got pinned by Ethan Page for the win. I tell you, Ethan Page, when his eyes are wide open, ego aside, he really does kicking into high gear. Ridiculous high velocity shoulder tackle in the early going of the match. But a strong tag team wrestling showcase by both. And while Scorpio Sky and Ethan Page still try to figure out a name and seem to be humble towards each other in this pairing, I feel like still you have an implosion waiting to happen eventually. But we'll see how far this goes. Of course, as Ethan Page and Scorpio Sky are out to prove something right now, especially against Sting, and more so, I think, Darby Allin. Maybe Lance Archer, too. We've seen them been watching Lance Archer. There's more to this than meets the eye. Just saying. Curious what's next for Ethan Page and Scorpio Sky. Good match, good win as they continue to roll on. Following that, we go into women's tag action as we have Maddie Ronkowski and excuse me! God, my ears. I am not wearing headphones anymore watching Elevation. Ugh. Vicky Guerrero comes out and introduces, reluctantly, Maddie Winkowski and, of course, her client, the Native Beast, Nyla Rose, as they once again, for the second week in a row, try tag team cohesion. But they take on the much more effective and on the same page tag team of Red Velvet and Big Swole, who's sporting a brand new look, by the way. I like her new hairdo. Same attitude, though. Gotta love it. Both these ladies bring the intensity and the showcasing. And definitely that Swole thing definitely makes you want to move. This match was pretty short, though, as, of course, we had Red Velvet with a hot dropkick immediately towards Nyla Rose. Nyla Rose was controlling the only going after her headache clapping her with her feet. Then Maddie Winkowski reluctantly got tagged in, but it seemed like she wanted to tag in the first place. Well, Nyla Rose brought her in by force, it seemed. But to Maddie Winkowski's credit, she did control a little bit of Red Velvet for the early going, but Nyla Rose wanted to tag back in, seeing Red Velvet maybe try and pull some offense in, and then a little bit of showboating, try to stir up herself, delaying a pin. I think this infuriated Vicky more than Nyla Rose. But then Nyla Rose just couldn't stand it anymore, as literally Nyla Rose comes into the ring and beast bombs her own tag team partner, and Vicky and her walk away. Red Velvet picks up the pieces and pinned Maddie Winkowski. So the way I see it is this. Maddie Winkowski, okay, maybe she needs to find a new tag partner, or maybe she needs to find somebody she can get on the same page with. Whether or not this was by choice, I'm pretty sure her and Nyla Rose's relationship and Vicky's potential manager roles are pretty much null and void. And of course, the Red Velvet and Big Swell, they just, they cruise now to Red Velvet's theme. By the way, shout out to Colin King, who I know is at ringside. More Colin King, please. Interesting match. Not much more to say. I feel like the biggest thing to think about here, Red Velvet continues to roll, elevating her game. And Velvet and Swole, a pretty effective duo. And you gotta consider all these women tag pairings. Are we setting up for another women's tag team tournament? I certainly hope we are. It certainly was one of the biggest focal points to really elevate, no pun intended, the women's wrestling division, AEW, heavily involved and influenced, of course, by Ken Omega being trained under the likes of Dustin Rhodes. And I know other influences like Thunder Rosa and Serena Deeb are there too. While Serena Deeb is still injured, get well soon. Pretty good match, though. Anyway, as we move forward, actually, we go into, this was actually a pretty short show, folks. Our main event, as My Time to Fly. Sorry, Cindy. I cannot sing worth a darn, but I do like his theme. Matt Sydal, he took on the bad boy, Joey Janela. This was a very competitive contest between these two. In the early going, both men were jockeying for control, and both men can tell each agility basically was on point. And then it was like, mutual fist bump of respect. As this match kept going, we did find at one point Matt Sydal did trap Joey Janela into sort of a last chancery. And there was an interesting point by commentary when you think about, okay, when the submission is in place, is it the person applying it that might be enduring some pain, if not more pain, than the person that is actually trapped in the submission themselves, especially when you consider the flexibility that needs to be involved on your neck for those certain submissions like the last chance, the overhead, almost SDS crossface type of combination. Anyway, I just think that's something interesting. I actually want to research more on that. Maybe I'll ask Shayna Baszler about that, though, because that's almost like catch can wrestling. As this match continued to align, Joey Janela, of course, being a little bit reckless, he did do some crazy stuff, including eating a brain buster on the apron. Ouch! As these two continued to just volley into each other, strikes, rising knees, fists, and forearms. It was a collision that took down both men as they literally were going into the deep end when it comes to the wrestling reservoir and how much pain that they can take. But again, Joey Janela is crazy. As this kept going, one person eventually got up, and then ridiculous lariat by Janela, inside out, upside down, went Seidel. And as it looked like we were going to get a top rope finisher, he gets caught in midair into a nice DVD, Death Valley Driver, but it didn't finish the match. What did finish the match, though, is what was to come. As Jordan thought he had a permanent control, he was going all for broke. He went to the top rope for his big elbow drop, and he met the knees of Matt Seidel, who then hit his finisher, the Lightning Spiral, and got the win. Really good competitive match. I would say this definitely was the most competitive match of the whole show, but again, everybody brought it. And what I like about this match, of course, it was also founded on mutual respect. But the thing is, when you have somebody that pushes you like this, neither person, I feel, doesn't lose, because honestly, on this show, you just want to push each other to become better. And I feel this match is only making Joey Janela and Matt Seidel not only continue to love wrestling, but both continue improving their in-ring game too. And with that being said, folks, that was it for this week's AEW Dark 90-minute showcase. One of the more shorter episodes, to say the least, but still a great show all around. As now we look towards AEW Dark, which I do not know the full card of yet. Chances are I'll probably be out tomorrow, because that's usually when it happens on Twitter. And as we move forward, Wednesday is the last AEW Dynamite before Blood and Guts. And you damn sure best believe I have a lot to say about that. But let's go ahead and talk about what's to come on Dynamite real quick. We have Penelope Ford trying to finally get the piece of the beep, 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 beep. In her words, if you go watch The Road to Dynamite, the super bad girl Penelope Ford should be a nice singles affair that's been, well, let's face it, over a year in the making. I'm sure Kip Sabian will not be far. And you wonder now this will kickstart Penelope Ford's in-ring game going forward. She hasn't been involved in in-ring action for quite a while on Dynamite, but Chris Statlander so far hasn't lost a match yet between the AEW platforms. And each man, of course, will have a corner person. Chris will have Orange, and of course, Ford will have Kip. There might be another match coming out of that, as Miro, it seems, finally is moving on from this. Yet you gotta wonder if Kip is aware of what Miro has been saying. Also, we will have, of course, Penta in action as he takes on Orange Cassidy. Orange Cassidy will have Trent in his corner, while, of course, Penta will have Alex Abrahantes, and I'm sure he will have plenty things to tell them that Penta says. As we continue this budding feud of Death Triangle versus the Best Friends, you gotta wonder if the Death Triangle might get some female influence at this point. Then again, I guess it is still technically 4-on-4 when you look at it. But I'm very intrigued by this feud. It should be a very interesting and competitive match, because Orange Cassidy on Dynamite in singles action doesn't happen a lot, especially in a competitive fashion since it's feud with Chris Jericho. So I'm curious what this match will bring. As we move forward, we, of course, will get the Inner Circle and the Pinnacle face-to-face in the ring for the Blood and Guts official rules revealing and so much more. I forget what they call it. Parlay, prelay, something like that. And I expect fists to fly and words to be thrown a lot. And also, we know that Darby Allin will continue to honor the late, great, rest his soul, Mr. Broyley, greatest TNT champion, as he wants to face the Dark Order at their best. This time they chose a guy that's been on a very strong roll, and I'm sure we'll have -1 this quarter, number 10, Preston Vance. These two are no strangers to each other, as Preston in past life did face Darby Allin before, and Darby Allin easily won. But he's seen how Preston has grown, and Preston has also told us himself, since Broyley brought him into the Dark Order and gave him that mask, he has completely changed his outlook on for wrestling and changed himself for the better. And it shows in his win-loss record. So, can Preston actually pick up the win and his first title and become the TNT champion? Who, in Preston's eyes, he believes the TNT title is the most important title on AEW. In a way, it kind of feels like it is now, because it's not like a workhorse. It's not like a mid-card. It's an opportunity. It really is that. Anybody can truly grab to this title, and honestly, this title could be as big as the AEW title, because it's main event the show. It's the network's title. When you hold this title, you hold yourself to a certain standard, not only as a wrestler, but somebody who apparently works under TNT, case in point, AEW. So I'm very curious what this match will bring. And I'm sure there'll be more stuff to come, but that's all I know off the top of my head for now for AEW Dynamite, as I'm going to go to their Twitter before I do my simple plugs. And before I tell you all and ask you all to let me know in the comments down below or find me on Twitter, what did you enjoy at Elevation? Have you watched Elevation? Who in AEW do you think has elevated their game, or who do you want to see elevate themselves? No pun intended, or maybe pun intended. I'll let you be the judge. But the bottom line is this. If you haven't already, I encourage you to check out AEW Dark Elevation and look towards the future of professional wrestling and who could be your next top star. Not superstar, but next top star. As there is so much to look forward to when it comes to professional wrestling nowadays in this much more open industry. And I'm going to keep saying that until I'm blue in the face. That's what it feels like. But I digress. Anyway, that's all I gotta say. Thanks for tuning in. If you haven't already, I suggest you go check out Teddy Turnbuckle's channel and check out my good friend Cindy G's there. She's gonna have live, I'm sure, thoughts regarding this and so much more. She also does, of course, post-match reactions on Teddy Turnbuckle's channel as well. I highly encourage you to check that out. But if you want to know more about me, know this: I'm just a simple man and a lifelong fan of ... wrestling in all of its forms. Good, bad, big, ugly, it doesn't matter. I just love wrestling. Simple as that. So follow me on Twitter at mfoster1916. Follow me on Instagram at mfoster1916. And keep following this little YouTube channel here, youtube.com/c/no-foster210 for all things wrestling. And shout out to AEW family on Twitter. We will be back with another AEW review very soon. And I might be trying to bring back the sauce too. Who knows? I might dip into the brands with the boys. We'll have to wait and see. You guys know who you are. As always, I like to close. There are no winners. There are no losers. There are no best. There are just fans with their own outlooks and opinions for this passion we all share. So at the end of the day, respect one another, support each other, and just enjoy life and enjoy wrestling. Simple as that. With that being said, I thank you so much for tuning in. Please like, subscribe, comment, tell a friend. Hit the bell notice video goes on this channel or be recorded. And hit the subscribe button. Help me keep going on this channel. South all 200. If you just with me on this fun YouTuber creator's journey. It's not anytime soon. I'm back. I'll be making much more content for you all. Expect content on NWA, NJPW, and of course, NXT UK, my favorite brand under the big W, and so much more as there is more wrestling now than ever, Impact Wrestling, and of course, AEW. A few matches, just to let you know, have been announced officially for AEW Dark. We have Machine Brian Cage, of course, in action against Marty Caskins. Lance Archers are apparently going to kill everybody. And it starts with James St. Patrick. The Blade and Private Party. What a weird combination. Take on Dark Order, Evil Uno, Stu Grayson, and 10. I'm sure Ali will be in Blade's corner. Yeah. We also have Liam Gray and Adrian Lonis taking on SCU, Christopher Downs, Kazarian, who are on a all or nothing vendetta that the next time they lose as a tag team, they are done as a tag team. As, of course, we hype up for Wednesday, where we have the matches I previously stated, and the other match that I did neglect to mention of the Machine Brian Cage taking on Hangman Adam Page. There is a lot to look forward to this week in wrestling, especially in AEW. So if you haven't already, tune your eyes in, open your ears, expose your mind, widen your horizons, and get ready for a huge dose of professional wrestling. And support pro wrestling, folks, that's the heart of it. Well, that's all I got to say for now. So thanks for tuning in. Again, as always, I hope you all take care and enjoy life. Tomorrow's never guaranteed. Treasure fans and enjoy wrestling. There's more of it now than ever. So find somebody, some promotion, some friend, or some rival if you dare to find, connect, interact with too. I wish nothing but the best for all of you. Thanks for tuning in, and until the next video on this Simple Man's YouTube, I hope you all stay safe and have a good night. In the immortal words of Kenny Omega, goodbye, mwah, and good. Man, was Impact Rebellion great or what? Good night. Bang.